It's time for the Warm-Ups Weekly NFL Injury Report with American Orthopedic and Sports Medicine's Dr. Steven Stoller. Visit them online at drstoller.com.
All right, $121. A lot of text messages coming in at 609-403-0973. I will get to them momentarily, and we'll continue with the Hall of Fame talk and everything else. And you know, another guy, too, a couple of guys just tweeted at me, Rich Quinones, Max McGee. I mean, he was drinking the night of the Super Bowl. I mean, come on. So, like I said, let's just kind of put everything in perspective. And he still went out, and he caught, I think he had 6 or 7 receptions for $140 and a touchdown, and Green Bay won. So, it's just such a soft society. It's unbelievable. All right, as we do every week, our NFL injury report with our good friend, Dr. Steven Stoller from American Orthopedic and Sports Medicine. You can certainly check him out online, drstoller.com, or you can call ahead for an appointment, 201-261-2000. Some good injuries to go over. Doc, first and foremost, how you been? And happy belated New Year to you, my friend.
Yes, same to you. And I can interject that Joe Namath did his fair share of partying before, and he's in the Hall of Fame. So I don't know what you're discussing, but yes, I don't think that should keep him out.
Yeah, well, no, you're right. I mean, it's I guess my point was a lot of the writers nowadays, even back in the day, they always seem to have personal vendettas or axe to grind with some of these players. And I think if they have a vote, use it wisely and fairly. If not, then you shouldn't have a vote.
Yeah, or you should have just be a man and just abstain.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. All right, so we've got a couple notable quarterbacks here. Let's start with Mike McGloin for the Oakland Raiders. Really tough loss for them, losing Derek Carr. The backup comes in, injured his shoulder last week against the Broncos. Now they're down to the third string. It does look like Cook will get the start against the Texans, but I'm just wondering, with McGloin, the team says his left shoulder is just sore. He was diagnosed with a muscular/pinched nerve issue. Now, if need be, can he go out and play?
Well, here's the thing with a lot of the injuries this week. There's a lot of miscommunication, I think, between the press and the doctors, and I don't know where it stems from, but it sounds to me that it's really, he doesn't have a muscular pinched nerve. It's usually the other way around, and there's no muscle there's no nerve in his shoulder that would cause that. If he had anything, it would come from his neck, and that's what I would be, concerned about. So I think that he has to have his neck cleared by the physician, get a MRI of his neck, and then you could certainly, by examining his shoulder, if he has pain with range of motion, it could be, that he does have some damage to the shoulder, and then I would get an MRI. But I think with the way they're portraying it, you get a muscle spasm secondary to usually a major nerve that's coming from the neck or the brachial plexus, and you want to rule that out first. You can get a direct spasm, but that's not related to a nerve. So I'm not certain what's going on with him, but if he was my patient and he felt that it was a nerve, a lot of times patients come to me and they complain of their shoulder in the back, and it turns out that they have a herniated disc in their neck, and that's not uncommon. So I think I would you always want to rule out the worst thing first, and that's what I would do. So if that's negative and his shoulder's negative, then it's just a matter of pain.
Ryan Tannehill, Miami Dolphins quarterback. Now, he has been just came down a little while ago. Now, he did not practice Wednesday with that left knee injury. He was rehabbing the sprained ACL and MCL joint. The question I wanted to ask you, even though he's been ruled out, I guess what do you think they did to come up with that distinction or declaration that he's going to be ruled out?
I guess it would be based on examination. I mean, he's close to 4 weeks now, and when you examine his knee and you put a stress or you put your finger over the origin and it's still painful, that would be part of it. The other thing I would do, especially if he's at 4 weeks and it is the playoffs, I mean, I would tape him up, I would put him in a brace, and I would see how he feels. I mean, if he's, and I would start him out with like simple, exercise. If he can run a figure of 8, then I would take him to the next level and see what he could do before ruling him out 100%. So that's what I would do.
If they say they were to win this weekend with Matt Moore and you get another week of Tannehill with rest, I mean, can you see a situation where if they do what you just alluded to, that he could play next weekend?
I think he might be. It's a matter of pain tolerance. It's also a matter of the degree of the sprain. But again, being close. If he was 4 weeks and it's an average patient, you're just going to let him wait 2 more weeks. But you're in the playoffs. I would do everything possible to see if I could get him to play. But I didn't examine him and I didn't see his MRI, so I don't know. But I would have at least tried that before declaring him out.
1:26 on a Thursday, our weekly NFL injury report with Dr. Steven Stoller from the American Orthopedic and Sports Medicine in Englewood, New Jersey. And, of course, check him out online, drstoller.com. You got some great patient education, videos, info, testimonials as well. And, of course, to book an appointment, 201-261-2000, certainly preferred but not needed. All right, Quentin Rollins, Green Bay Packers cornerback. Now, their secondary's taken a bunch of hits, but he really sustained a scary-looking neck injury against the Lions on Monday night. Taken off the field on a stretcher, was seen walking around the facility. I'm curious, what kind of tests would they have performed? And, again, he's still up in the air right now as far as playing against the Giants. But to me, when I think of a neck injury, you're taking off a stretcher, I mean, you really have to be cautious there.
Well, here's the thing. He was taken off, and they did all the proper precautions for, a spinal injury. So what's usually done is they keep him on that board that you see him on. They tape his head, secure it so it doesn't move. And when he gets to the emergency room, they get X-rays. They look for a fracture. If that's not there, then even if it is, they then do a CT scan. A CAT scan, and that's better for locating fractures. And if once that's done, then they would get an MRI to look for like a spinal contusion or something of that magnitude. But the fact is that he's walking around, and now he's under a concussion protocol.
Yes.
So he didn't have a spinal injury at all. Apparently, he just had a concussion. So. And that's just up to the protocol, which, I mean, it's not arbitrary, but it's difficult to determine how quickly he can come back. So, if he passes the protocol, he could play as soon as this weekend.
You know what? Let me just add one more in there before we
Sure.
start wrapping up. And we talked about Janoris Jenkins, certainly an outstanding cornerback for the Giants. Now, he played on Sunday. He got nicked up a little bit, came out. They rested him basically majority of the game, but he tested that back out. And again, it might sound like a goofy question to kind of ask, but you're going to Green Bay. You know the temperature is going to be frigid. You know it's going to be extremely cold. Is there a chance of his back at all tightening up?
Oh, sure. I mean, for all these athletes have to warm. That's why they warm up. They're warming up their core temperature, and they're getting a blood flow to their muscles, and they do all that stretching. So whether it's the summer or the winter, they have to do that. And in this day and age, there's enough clothes that are particularly made to retain heat and support muscles that I think that would certainly help him. So I don't know if that's a factor. It really depends on, how much pain he's having and how well he's able to move.
Yeah,
But like for instance, if he's, if the offense is on and he's off, get on the bike and ride it. So you stay warm and keep the muscle loose, and that's what you really want to do. Or have the trainers stretch them, when the defense is off.
Yeah, well, the weather's certainly going to play a factor in some of these games this weekend. And, of course, now it's just a war of attrition with some of these teams and their injuries. And, again, we're joined every week with our good friend Dr. Steven Stoller. Check him out online, drstoller.com, from the American Orthopedic in sports medicine. You can book an appointment or call ahead for some information and a little guidance at 201-261-2000. Doc, good stuff.
Yes.
Enjoy the games this weekend, and then we really
Yes.
get down to crunch time because we got the divisional games, then we got the championships, and then, of course, we got the big one, the Super Bowl.
All right, one question
Yes,
for you.
go
How
ahead.
is your quarterback coach, Filipino?
DiFilippo. Oh, from a Jet standpoint?
Yeah, they're looking at him as an offensive coordinator.
It really him and Frank Reich had their hand, obviously, with Carson Wentz. Remember, you had basically 3 quarterback gurus with the Eagles this year, including Doug Peterson. They good reviews with him. I think the issue with the Jets is eventually
they don't have a quarterback.
You don't.
So who's ever walking into that situation is really
tough.
desperate.
Yeah. Well, listen. I mean, you start to clean house and you start to move guys around. I'll tell you this.
You can't move Sheldon Richardson into the quarterback position.
No, you can't.
I don't know whether from what I see, I don't know if there's anyone. I mean, everyone's saying there's no one outstanding coming out in the draft.
There's not.
The free agent market isn't.
Now,
great,
what you can do is you can just have another really bad year and wait for the kid out of USC to come out because he's going to be a stud.
Yeah.
Unless Cleveland nabs him because they'll probably win 3 or 4 games next year. And then you're right back where he's. Look, it's a long road ahead for the Jets.
I know. All
right, you got it, Doc.
Take care.
You got it.
Good
All
talking
right,
to you, Rich.
you got it. Enjoy
Bye.
the games. All right, there you have it, Dr. Steven Stoller.